and welcome back to the Survive and Thrive Virtual Summit for Moms. You guys are in for a special treat today. We have Eiji Morishita, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Morishita from Movement Makers. Welcome, Eiji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad
to be here. Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you. Eiji, you're just a beautiful soul, and you spoke at one of the events that I went to and went up on stage, and I was like, I gotta get connected with this man because you have a really big mission and what you're doing is really great. So I'm going to share your bio. So Eiji Morishita is the Movement Makers mentor and founder of Movement Makers, whose mission is to empower 1,000 leaders over the next 10 years to start a movement that impacts millions of lives. Our purpose is to ignite souls and step fully into their calling unapologetically and create a movement that matters. Eiji has been personally involved in the growth and popularity of sushi as a movement in North America, to being at the point of ideation of the Hug It Forward movement, which led to building over 100 bottle schools in Guatemala, to advising dozens of movements on the rise. His clients and the Movement Makers community have been featured on the New York Times bestseller list, Today Show, TED, and many more. The vision of Movement Makers is all leaders unite to solve the world's greatest challenges by creating new models that make the old model obsolete. He is a genius in creating practical and tactical solutions and provide the foundational building blocks to start, grow, and lead your movement. Great.
Woohoo.
Welcome.
Well, glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. Thank you for putting on this interview series. I'm really looking forward to what we cover here today and in however way to best serve and support your audience as well. So.
Awesome. Can you just tell them a little bit about you? Tell them a little bit about your background and how you got here to where you are today?
Sure. It definitely wasn't a straight line. And I grew up in an immigrant family. They moved over to the States. And I didn't speak English till I was about, I didn't start learning English till I was about 5. But growing up, I always felt different, like outcasted, because I didn't know, I'm in a new area, didn't speak the language, and was kind of ridiculed for, it was in the 80s, and being Japanese, I brought bento boxes to school while everyone else had cool brown paper bag lunches. Now it's kind of the bento boxes are cool for kids, right, and and things like that. But all I wanted was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich during a field trip so I could fit in. And so this kind of kept on going, and my name is, generally, you did a great job. Only 1 in 100 people get my name correctly, pronouncing it. And it got so bad that I was ridiculed for my name, and substitute teachers butchered my name, classmates laughed. I was considering changing my name to an American name just so I could fit in. And then I went to college, and my English professor said, I let him know that. It's like, well, let's do some research and discuss it among the class. And when I done the research, I found out like my name had some significance, like the EI which is pronounced A. It means England, English, but also means hero. So I love heroes. I've always been drawn to heroes. And then the JI means to govern, power, rule, but also means to heal. So I like the hero and the healer. And that's when I discovered that I was not different, that I was unique. And once I made that shift, because when I felt different, I felt alone, I felt I didn't fit in, I didn't belong, I was isolated. And when I discovered I was unique, I felt more connected, and I was celebrated for my uniqueness. And that led me to, from my pain, it led me to, no matter who I talk to, I'm wired to see the uniqueness in people. I'm wired to see the different combinations and connect the dots. It's, called the peanut butter and chocolate combination. Is what makes you unique, and that's how I've been wired. And since then, I did that in high-tech recruiting, interviewing software engineers to find out what their uniqueness is, and then my other skills to market that uniqueness to people who buy, which is the software companies, the VPs, CTOs, all the software managers. And then I moved back to my, the .com crashed. And that was a big, big crash. It was like, life was good. I was in my late 20s making tons of money. And when it crashed, my income literally went to zero overnight. I was on full commission, and I really had a hard time because I felt like I felt a lot of guilt, felt a lot of shame, felt like I was being a burden to my friends and family. It got so bad I was thinking of taking my own life. And that's when I had my spiritual journey start, where I heard this inner voice. It wasn't this loud voice like, hey, like that or anything like that, but it was kind of like just like a voice, Eiji, hang on, there's something great waiting for you. So that's all I needed to just go start figuring out who am I and why am I here. And I found that I was telling myself, discovered 3 lies that I told myself, and these are the same exact 3 lies that I rediscovered again when I struggled as a coach or as an entrepreneur early on. And the 3 lies are: number 1, I felt all alone. Number 2 is I felt I was broken, that there's something wrong with me, or I'm missing something. And number 3 was I felt unloved. And in business, when the money isn't flowing in, it's hard to feel a lot of love when money isn't flowing into the business. So for relationships, love is the currency. In business, money is the currency. And so, that's why I'm on a mission, especially for all you moms out there who want to make money from home, that you want to know the truth, that you're never alone. You are always surrounded by people, by a higher power. You're surrounded by people who love you, who care for you, who don't even know you, but they care for you. And also that you are not broken, that you're whole and complete, meaning that God didn't create anything that's incomplete. Like God didn't design half a cow, or half a human, or half a dog. Everything's born whole. If you look at nature, everything's whole, and you're born whole. There's nothing missing, and there's nothing to fix. There's just things to chip away that's not you. And maybe that's from programming from society or from your family lineage or so, but inside your soul is perfect. And last but not least is you're loved. You're loved by a higher power, whether you call it God, I call it God. Some people call it universe, infinite intelligence, source. There's so many different names. But whatever you believe in as your higher power, that you are loved unconditionally, and you're loved by other people. You're loved by me. I don't even maybe know you or ever met you, but I love you unconditionally. And here's a key thing. You'll love this, Chelsea, is my favorite saying, because I went to Saddleback Church when I lived in Orange County, and it's run by Pastor Rick Warren, who wrote the book Purpose Driven Life. And it's the biggest selling book since the Bible. It's like 40 plus million copies. But one of the things I loved about unconditional love, I don't know. Well, now think of it. It may be him, may not be him. But I think it's there's nothing you can do to make me love you anymore, and there's nothing you can do to make me love you any less. And that's what I feel like, unconditional love is. And I do to the best of my ability. And trust me, I'm human too. I'm flawed. I have lots of imperfection. I make mistakes all the time. Just ask anybody who knows me, and they'll say, yeah, he does make a lot of mistakes. And so that's the humanness of it. And so, but my aspiration is to be unconditional loving every day. Do I do it 100% of the time? No. Do I do it 80% of the time? No. But I do it as much as I can, and I think that's the key moving forward. So, fast forward, I started a training I started a training company. I turned around my family sushi business, finding out the uniqueness with my parents. They were really struggling. They were losing $15,000 to $20,000 a month back in 2004 because they couldn't find out what made them unique. Opening up a sushi restaurant in 2004 on Yelp. If you type in Yelp Los Angeles sushi, there's over 3,700 results right now. And so there's a lot of competition. So my parents were losing $15,000 to $20,000 a month. And that's a lot of money. And I saw the retirement going down. And it was until my mom, after the 4th month, said, Eiji, help me with our marketing. You went to college. And trust me, there's nothing in college. I didn't take any marketing classes in college. But all I did was, let's figure out our family history. Let's find out what makes our family unique. And we found out that our great-grandparents were pioneers in bringing sushi over to America. It was a partnership with another family in the distribution company, and we brought the sushi bar concept in the 60s to the U.S. And in the 70s, my mom was the first female sushi chef. We opened the first fast casual restaurant in Santa Monica, California, near the beach in a mall-like setting. And
you did. Sorry, you brought the sushi counter.
Sushi bar.
Oh, sushi bar.
Before some restaurants used to have sushi, but there was no sushi bars.
Nice.
And now almost a lot of sushi restaurants have sushi bars now. So
yeah, and it's still pretty rare to have a female sushi chef. I mean,
oh yeah,
from what I've seen. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we were able to turn it around, and so they became super profitable. And since then, I've just been helping entrepreneurs, coaches. Where my passion is for you to step into your calling, because I truly believe when you step in your calling that, God's favor and God's grace comes and opens things up. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it because of who you become in the process. Like if you're experiencing a challenge right now, that means that you're being qualified and going through initiation for you to be stronger so that you can lead and serve more people. So,
right.
Yeah, I know I kind of went off into a story. You could tell I'm really passionate about it. But I could tell you that my mom is my inspiration because she's the quintessential woman entrepreneur, because my dad and my mom separated and she was running the business. She was the matriarch of the family. She made sure the business was successful. She made sure that I got what I need when I went off to college, also from my younger brother, younger sister. So she worked her tail off and super, super grateful. So my heart goes out for women entrepreneurs and moms as well. I'm a dad of 2 little kids. I have a 7-year-old daughter, Emma, and 4-year-old son, Taiga. They're downstairs in the home right now. And, but yeah, it's like anything I can do to support you. So, that's what I'm here for.
That's awesome. And I never noticed this before because I've heard you share your story a couple times, but I've never noticed before how it's like kind of when you were at a crossroads or kind of having a hard time or having to solve a problem or make a decision, you went back and did some research. Mm-hmm. And like when the sushi business was not doing well, you went back and you looked into the history and found that you were one of the first families to bring it, to California, or I don't know, maybe the U.S.
But yeah, so it's crazy. Well, it's crazy that I knew we started early, and I grew up in the 70s and 80s as a little kid in there, but I didn't know that it's like, we didn't know we were one of the first until later.
Yeah. So that's great. I never really thought about, okay, I'm having a hard time. Let me do some research and see, I don't know, for some reason this just comes up to me. It hits home. Like, let me do some statistics on how many people have achieved what I have. And, just being able to do some digging and finding the meaning in what you're doing to propel you forward.
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah. And I think we all have our superpower, and once we discover our superpower, we use it in every challenge. So for me, anytime I get a challenge and I need to fix something, I really check in and then go do the research, find out the uniqueness, and then learn how to get it out there.
Great. So what do you think is your superpower?
So my superpower, there's a couple ones, but I have a couple, but the main, from a business standpoint, is really I have a superpower of interviewing people and finding out what makes them unique and what makes them stand out. And within that, especially when people are stuck, they're thinking either I do this or I do that. And all problems come from either or thinking, and the solution is the and. So we just had a coach-a-thon last Saturday. One person, he does publishing and content marketing, but what he really wants, where his heart is wanting to do, is this performance coaching and resilience coaching. And he didn't know how to connect the two. And so for me, it becomes automatic. This is my superpower. I said, well, of course, they're totally fit together, because how often do people who want to write content or be more visible, write a book, get stuck in getting things done or starting to write? They get stuck all the time. That's where your performance coaching and resilience coaching is the solution to get them to do that. So then they can include it in all these pieces. And he didn't think about how many entrepreneurs, how many coaches, how many consultants have issues of getting content out. And this is where his performance coaching plus his content marketing knowledge can be very, very powerful. So I like finding peanut butter and chocolate combinations.
Yeah.
And finding it, because I think that's one of my favorite, I don't eat a lot of candy, but it's one of my favorite candy bars. And they're number two
Reese's.
In all of, Reese's is number 2 out of all the candy bars. And that's pretty impressive considering not everyone eats peanut butter or have allergies. So It's definitely the number 1 by far. The number 1, just so you know, is M&M's. And the reason why is because they also do customization. So you could put your face on the M&M's. You could get colored M&M's. They have M&M for corporate gifts. But if it was for pure just candy sales at the supermarket, I feel it's like Reese's is the best.
Yeah, and that also helps you kind of niche it down when you find the and, because I know that's always a challenge too when you want to provide a solution and you think it could be helpful to anybody. It doesn't have to be either or. You can find the and, the people that are trying to do both.
Yes, and you want to do it gracefully. You want to do it gracefully. You can't be the restaurant that serves Chinese food and burritos, separately, a Mexican, Chinese. So you would have to create a fusion that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for moms on kind of getting started and getting that clarity, finding that what you said, where you are able to kind of see what's not. Now I'm not speaking correctly, but how you said you were able to help people and figure out how they were unique. Like, how do moms kind of get started with their message and their clarity?
I think it's coming down to that's a great question, Chelsea. And I love how you're on a mission to help moms out there and some movement that you're creating. And I feel like it's a combination of a few things. So you could take inventory, the research of your passion, your talents, your skills, and your experiences. So what is it? It's that intersection of what you really love to do, and then your talents. What are the gifts that you're given? And then your skills, which is the time that you build skills. Making money is a skill, coaching is a skill, cooking is a skill. Some people may have a talent for how things make taste or whatever, but you still have to develop skills. And then experience. So I believe that God has put experiences in your life to give you clues on where you can go. And also that everything you pretty much wanted or needed to know, you knew the moment you were born. And it's almost like we have to go back to our childlike self to be more playful, have more laughter, be more passionate, have a sense of wonder, and use our imagination. But there's things like if you had a dream early on, it's probably we need to re-tap back into that dream, whatever that is. For me, it was drawing, but it was drawing like riches and pirates' treasures and superheroes. So it's kind of like it's not like exactly what I wrote, but I'm kind of living what I drew, when I was little. So I feel like go back to what did you love to do when you were little before anyone can tell you what to do? Maybe you're dancing all the time. Maybe you're painting. Maybe you're just really good at connecting with people. But those are some clues on what your genius is and what your superpower is. So that's one part, is looking in the past. The second part you could do is ask your friends and just go and say, you know what? I want to know, what do you think I'm really good at? What am I really good at? What do you notice like that I do easy, but maybe hard for other people? and say, yo, you're really good at this. Oh, wow. And so go interview people around you, your friends, family members, your coworkers, and you'll notice some patterns right there. You'll notice some patterns of what your uniqueness is, because I believe your success should depend on your strengths, never on your weaknesses. If it depends on your weaknesses, it's really tough. Business can be really tough. Trust me, I know I've struggled when I started, because I was doing what's called SEO blogging, where it's you're blogging for search engine optimization, and I'm not a writer. I wasn't a writer back then. And so I was doing things that were outside my zone of genius. And so you got to find out what are your strengths and double down on your strengths. So I think that's a key thing. Is the first thing is to find that uniqueness. Now I'm just curious, like for your moms, are they moms of young children, older children, teens, or are they single moms, or all of the above, if you had to guess?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they can be moms with children of any age, because I am a mom and I have a small, young child. He's one. But I also I really attract and identify with moms who are older and have their children have already left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent. So I think for different, that's awesome. I think for different stages, because if you just recently gave birth, and usually the best tip I give, because we have 2 kids, is just for your own energy, is sleep when the baby sleeps, especially
right.
And things like that. But also once they get a little bit older and stuff, what I've seen with successful moms is that they start doing the work before their kids wake up or after they go to bed. And so it's usually the quiet time where the kids aren't requiring your attention. But that, at least for me as a dad, that's my sweet spot when I work from home, is before they wake up or after they go to bed. Now with quarantine and stuff like that, I'm working more during the day, things like that. But if I wanted some major projects done, that allows me to keep some family time. As far as moms with teens, I would recommend, moms with teens, and this is all about leadership, is enrolling your kids to support you. Enrolling your kids. So oftentimes, as a business owner or so, or working from home or so, our family members may not understand why, in their eyes, feel like, oh, you're taking away time from us. So you need to have that conversation, that leadership conversation, saying, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it, and show them how it's going to benefit them. So when you succeed, ultimately, I know this about all the moms watching this, is that you're doing this, a lot of the huge reason is for your children. A lot of what I do is for my children as well. And you need to make sure that when they know that when what you're doing and when you're putting in work, that they're going to be benefited from that. But also feel free to empower them, because even working from home, you can, I'm not an accountant, so I can't give you any legal, but you can hire your kids as their chores and pay them or something like that. And if there's great tax benefits from it, but you can help them start working, because I know, especially if you have boys, the boys want to help mom out. The boys like to be needed or wanted by mom, and they feel good carrying the grocery bags. Maybe, I don't know about teens. We're not there yet. My kids are young, but if there's a sense of healthy pride, good pride of yes, I'm helping mom out. So with boys, I think if you're a mom, I think you definitely want to encourage them, because as young men, they need more encouragement. And really, at the end of the day, most kids want approval from their dad and love from their mom. And they want their dads to be proud and moms to be loving and nurturing. So, but one thing is, if you can enroll your kids, then it's a team. Enroll them as your team, so it doesn't feel like you're growing your business and building a business and raising a family are two separate things. It doesn't feel like that you can find the and that's one of the things I'm very passionate about is you know, you don't have to choose between raising your family and growing business. You could do both.
Right. So what advice do you give when you are feeling like you're not present and you're struggling, like you're thinking about your business when you're with your family and you're thinking about your family when you're supposed to be working?
Yeah, I think someone called that the definition of hell on earth.
Well, it's hard to not, because as work from home moms, you still have responsibilities.
Absolutely. So, let me see. So there's no one answer for it, but the overarching one is whatever you're doing, when you're with family, just go all in with your family, because you're going to fill that tank up, and then you'll have more energy for your business. But just focus on that when you're in your business. But here's what I mean is that there's no such thing as balance. There's no such thing as balance, and this is probably, especially working from home, there's no 50-50 teeter-totter. You're going to go extreme on one end. Some days, some hours, some minutes, you're extreme on your family. Other times, you're going to be extreme on your business. It's rarely like, I'm going to give 50% here, 50% there. So as long as you realize that, as long as you, wherever you end, go extreme in it with your family and love on them, and when you're not, go extreme on your business and set boundaries. Like you could have, how those businesses has, we'll be back at 2 p.m. or something, like a barbershop that you hang on the wall. So you could have a room, and I know with little kids, but you could have a sign of when you're available and setting clear and healthy boundaries. I was surprised because my son's 4 and daughter's 7, but we set, because I now work from home instead of my office, I have to set clear and healthy boundaries and show and teach them that during these hours and during this interview, like they're not here allowed to come into this room. And so yeah, healthy boundaries and just go on extreme. And it's like, the worst is like just feeling like uneasy on each side. So when you go extreme on each, like whenever I have a really good day at work, then I'm more present with my family. When I have a really good day with my family, I'm more present with my business. So it's kind of like, just do one, whichever side, do it well, and the other side's going to improve.
Great advice. It's really good.
Great question. I had to think about that one.
And you're good at that. You're good at, it's almost like, getting information from the universe. And yeah, I definitely feel like you channel a lot of spiritual messages through yourself.
Yeah, well, I definitely do. That makes it easy. That way I don't have to come up with a lot of new stuff. There's some things where I want to refine my messages, but for the most part, I'm just here. I do a prayer, send me the people I'm here to serve, and allow me to send the message that needs to be heard. And so the main message I really get is, just to hold your vision, never lose sight of your vision, what you want for yourself, your family, for the world, just your vision and your why is going to take you so far. You don't need to learn how. The house, I believe God produces the house. You just move forward and the house will show up. And I think that's a key tip is don't try to figure out the house. If you have to figure out the house before you make the decision, that is backwards thinking. That's what causes struggle. Is if you can't decide because you need to know how, it doesn't work that way. You need to decide first, then God opens up doors that didn't even exist and the house will be shown to you. It's kind of like you can't say, I'll go to the gym after I lose 20 pounds. No, you go to the gym and then you lose the 20 pounds.
Right.
So yeah, but a lot of people think that way as well. And some fitness trainer clients in the past are like, yeah, my clients want to lose weight first before they start working with me. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
And what advice do you give about creating clarity on your vision. So I think a lot of us, we're pretty sure what our why is and like why we're doing this. But I know a lot of people, and myself included, I knew I wanted to help people, but for a long time I didn't know how.
Okay. Well, there's a couple visions. There's the extraordinary life vision. So think of ultimately what you want in your life. And also you could even think at the end of your life, looking back, what are you most grateful for? Like maybe you're looking at having grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Maybe it's having vacations and experiences and moments. You might see pictures or flashes of in your head of what you want to see. Maybe it's a family reunion. Maybe it's really doing your missionary work. Maybe it's serving your community. Whatever that is. Maybe it's writing that book. But the thing is that whatever comes up, you just need to focus on the feeling, and it'll get clear. It may be fuzzy. It's like it could, your vision of, I know it's something that I want to do and I want to help other people. That's good enough for now. That's the first step, as Martin Luther King says, of the staircase. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to see the first step and just move towards something that helps other people. And then the next step will appear. And then mentors and people will show up, like, Chelsea is showing up. I'm showing up. All the other experts are showing up in your path to help you be clear on the next step and the next step and the next step. And, some of it will come to you. Some of it could be a wish list. And always, God's plan is always better than what we could imagine. And but I would just start drawing down. And here's the thing: you can create your vision. So imagine if you're the director of your own movie or author of your own book, and you write the script. And then if it's aligned, it's going to show up. If it's not, it won't. But the thing is, at least you could start with you guessing what it can be and what you want it to be, and then move towards that direction, and then it'll get clearer as you go along the way. Is that helpful?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so that's your extraordinary life vision.
Yes.
And that's like what you want to accomplish.
That's the ultimate vision, like way off. And then the second vision is a 5-year vision. And so here's why, is most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year. I always overestimate what I could do in 1 year. Like, think of New Year's resolutions. How many people in the United States, achieve a New Year's resolution? Just a small percentage. But in 5 years, we underestimate what we can do in 5 years. So pick a 5-year vision that's kind of in sight, but a little out of reach. So out of reach, but within sight. So it's a stretch. And why this can work is because it's like compound effort, compound interest. The compound effort accumulates and you start skyrocketing. So I would recommend a 5-year vision and just write down what you want. So a couple things. Where do you want to be physically 5 years from now in your health? Where do you want to be mentally in terms of your education? Where do you want to be emotionally? Like, what emotions do you want to feel 5 years from now? Where do you want to be spiritually in your connection with God or universe, your higher power? So those are the 4 internal. And then there are 2 external ones. Where do you want to be in your finances 5 years from now? Write down where you want to be in terms of, maybe it's money for retirement. Maybe it's how much income you bring in. Maybe it's real estate property that you own. And then last but not least is, where do you want to be in your relationships 5 years from now? So it's your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. Those are the internal. Then you have the external, which is finances and relationships. So those are the 6 areas to really just write down your wish list. It doesn't have to come to you. You can create your reality. You can choose, just like if you go to Baskin Robbins, you could choose which flavors you want. So you could choose the flavors of the ice cream or flavors that you want in your vision. So don't get stuck on it. Just choose, and you can't do it wrong. And you're going to course correct as you go. So I think that's the key. I think that's the biggest thing I see people get stuck in, is they're worried about getting it wrong, so they don't put it down. Just put it down, and it's going to get, and it'll move you towards that direction. That's
great advice. And it also brings into my mind, you know, I've seen you talk a couple times about the pyramid where you have your extraordinary life vision at the top. Would you mind talking about that a little bit and,
Yeah.
you know, going up or going top down?
Well, sure. I mean, it's really like, this is how you break it down is you want to start with your extraordinary life because ultimately that's what we're here. We have one life, and that's the gift is our life, our body when we were born. And so we have the extraordinary life is the pyramid, the top. Then you have your 5-year vision. And then once you're clear on your 5-year vision, then we just break it down. Now, this is very like kind of reverse engineering, so very masculine and stuff. So, but if you get, so let me see here. Give me a second. I might even have, let me see here.
Sure.
1 second. I was just going to look and see. Oh, I think I may have it. Let me show, if I can share, I think I might have it. Let me just share this screen. And then you can see, it's so much easier to show you than tell you. So here's what it looks like. All right, can you see it?
Yep.
So that's the extraordinary, oops.
So take a picture.
Yeah, or a screenshot, yes. So your extraordinary life vision, then you break it down to your 5-year ideal vision. This is the vision that I recommend you visualize every day. If you visualize your 5-year vision every day in the morning, when you wake up, every night before you go to bed, and throughout the day, what you do is you're programming your mind, and after 90 days, this becomes your autopilot. This is and your autopilot goes towards success. Then we look at the 5-year, then break it down to 1-year goals. And here's the key. There's no more than 3 goals, wildly important goals at a time. Any more than 3, you're going to get overwhelmed, and your odds of completing them is slim. So you no more than 3, but really be clear on what your number 1 wildly important goal is. That, like, what's the one thing? And there's a great book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. The One Thing book. Gary Keller founded Keller Williams Real Estate. It's the number 1 real estate agency and training company in North America. And the book One Thing. So it's like, his question is, what's the one thing I could do such by doing so would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Then we break down the 1 year into quarterly 90-day game plans. So you don't even have to plan 4 to 6 months out or 6 to 9. You just need your 1-year goal and then the next 90 days. Because your next 90 days is kind of like the springboard from a diving board towards your 1 year. Your 1 year is a springboard to your 5-year. Your 5 years is a springboard to your extraordinary life vision. And then you break the 90-day into monthly, 1 objective, key objective per month. And then your planning is just, you plan by the week. You don't plan by the month. Like, you're planning what to do, what is important is by the week. And then during the day, you don't plan your day. You just decide what you're going to do during the day that meets you towards your weekly plan. So do you have any questions on this?
Is it also 3 for the 90-day game plan?
Yeah, 3. No more than 3. No more than 3. In anything, it's no more than 3. But always be clear on your number 1. Your number 1 is worth more than your number 2 and 3 together. It's like your number 1 is generally the most important, and in terms of it, number 1 is more important than 2 and 3 combined oftentimes. And so yeah, those are some key things. And then here's the key thing. I think this is the next thing. You want to operate from your vision. Like, so what that means is step into your future self and operate from being at the top of the mountain and work your way up instead of starting from the bottom of the mountain and climbing that mountain. It's a lot. So just a shift. You don't have to start at the bottom. You can start at the top and keep going higher. And the key is to show up as who you want to be. So in order for you to have what you haven't done, you need to be willing to do what you haven't done. And so the key is you want to let go of old habits that don't produce results. So here's the question is, am I in habit, or am I in an old habit, or am I showing up as who I want to be? I've edited it since then. It's like, or am I showing up as the highest and best version of myself? So you may want to write that down. Am I showing up as the highest and best version of myself? And when I do that, then magic happens. Because we all, when we're operating our highest and best version of ourselves, our odds of success is so much higher. And I could tell you for a fact that when I'm not in that zone, if I'm not operating if I'm operating my lowest self, I can't punch my way through a paper bag. I can't do it. I'm human. That's the humanness. But when we're in our highest, we could have mountains part. We could part the seas. We could move mountains. We could break through walls. There's nothing that can stop us. We go over. We go under. We go around. We go through. Like, we become unstoppable. So those are some things that, I think that's the key. Is like, just be clear. Your vision is so important. I mean, without a vision, people perish. So it's really, really important.
Awesome. So I love talking about vision. And when you were talking about daily implementation, you said don't plan daily. So what do you mean by that? And how do you suggest to go about the daily?
Okay, so you plan weekly. You plan on what are the results I want to get done this week. What are the top 3 results? Like for last week, for our company, we wanted to schedule, for me personally, like 15 calls for our sales team. I wanted to make sure we're caught up on our taxes and have all our filings in place. And then third is to develop a new morning routine. That was my focus. On a daily basis, I'm not planning, I'm just scheduling. That's what I mean. So you're scheduling. So it's like, okay, looking at the day, looking at what I have available, what am I going to do in order to help get those 15 sales calls? And then I'll block out time for that. What am I going to do for this? Some days it'll be all for one focus. I'm just going to start scheduling them in my calendar. Once in my calendar it's done. Then I look at the time, and this takes discipline. There's discipline involved. Then during the time I allotted, I focus on that project. So I'm not planning, I'm more scheduling, if that makes sense. So planning is by the week. So you don't have to think, what am I going to do? What should I do, or this or that? You're like, this is my objectives. This is my plan for the week, or top 3 targets for a week. And then I look at, okay, what am I going to do in the times I have available? So especially you as mom, maybe your kids go to school, so you have that window. You have that window where you can work, or it's before they wake up or after they go to bed. And you just write down what activities you're going to do during that time. So it's not necessarily planning, it's more deciding and scheduling.
Awesome, that's great. Okay, and so that's good. I didn't know that before. I didn't get that before from your training. So that's super helpful. It's like you don't need to keep a to-do list. You just put it on your calendar.
Yes.
For the next day.
That's the key. Like, I'm being mentored by someone who's she's a CEO of a $20 million a year company, and doing something in coaching in space. And she says, you got to get out of your to-do lists, because once you complete to-do lists, what happens? There's more. It's a never-ending to-do list. So you want to focus on committing to results, not committing to the results versus the tasks. Because sometimes it doesn't matter how it gets done, it just needs to get done. So for example, a business, maybe you're in a home-based business, and maybe you wanted to make, let's just say, 3 sales a week. Then you're committed to getting those 3 sales, however way that can happen. It could be through a phone call, it could be through social media, it could be through, doing a home party or whatever it is. But how you get there doesn't matter as long as you get there. So you're not attached to the path. You're just focused on, and it is scary. I'll tell you that when you're being held to a higher standard and saying, I commit to, like Chelsea, Chelsea, imagine Chelsea is my mentor or my coach. Chelsea, I commit to 3 new clients this week. And how do I do it? I don't know how, but I'm committed to it. Or there's many different ways of how, but I'm not saying I'm committed to doing this, like reaching out to X amount of people and stuff like that. I'm committed more to the result. And then, and it's a higher level of accountability because, like the airplane is committed to getting you from point A to point B. If their commitment was just to fly smoothly, that's not it. But they didn't commit to getting you to point B and landing safely. That'd be a little scary. So it's really more focused on the end results as well and committing to the end results. And you'll be surprised when you do it that how often the way will be shown to you. One thing as a teacher and trainer and speaker is I could come up with answers from above without me knowing what they are. So it's something where I could challenge, I guess, or call for the answers to come in even without me knowing and trusting that it comes in. So this is the part when you make a decision, you're calling for it. And so there's 3, so like ask me a question, ask me any question, and I'll just call it forward and you'll see it in action. Think of a question, whatever comes up for you.
Okay. What's the best way to show love?
Well, there's 3 things. Notice I have no idea what I'm going to say, right? There's 3 ways, there's 3 keys on the best way to show love. Number 1 is understand the other person's love language. So there's the golden rule of treating people how you want to be treated, but there's the platinum rule of treating people how they want to be treated. So adopt the platinum rule, not the golden rule, because most people love each other based on how they want to be treated. But read the book, The 5 Love Languages. It's so powerful. Some people are physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, and gifts. So speak in the language, especially with your kids, with your mate, if you're single, with your future potential partners, speak in the language of your partner. Because here's the thing, when you give your partner their love language, then they'll understand what your love language is. Like maybe your partner is really touchy-feely, like really physical touch, so give that person hugs or affection or snuggles or cuddles. And then maybe your love language could be gifts. Guess what? All of a sudden, you come home or you're out and you get some flowers or you get this or you get a gift. Notice it's like you're the leader. No matter what, you got to realize you're always the leader, and leaders go first. So if you want things to change, it's got to start first. The second best way to love someone is that love comes in all different shapes and sizes and all different feelings. There's a full spectrum of love. So don't assume that love is just all the good feelings.
Yeah.
Don't assume all love is all light. There's darkness in love, like where you could love someone, and if we've been in any relationship, you might ask, and this is the funny, how could someone I love and would do anything for, how can I hate them so much at sometimes, right? And you know what I mean? So it's love and hate are 2 sides of the same coin. I mean, because if you don't care enough about a person, you wouldn't hate them and you wouldn't love them. You just not care. You'd be indifferent. And so, but love is a spectrum. So just if you believe that love is only about the good stuff, your relationship's going to be really rough because you got to embrace all of it. So it'll be joy, pleasure, ecstasy, gratitude, bliss on the high end, and it'll be rage, fear, and sadness on the other end. We got to learn how to feel all of it. And when we feel the darker ones, we appreciate the good. I know I love hugs, and Chelsea, I know you love hugs too, and we love being with people at events and giving people hugs. And so right now, because we don't have that physically in at large events anymore right now, we appreciate we appreciate more the virtual connection than we did before, because we had other choices. But when we now don't have that choice, any form of connection, we have a greater sense of appreciation and gratitude for any type of connection, even if it's virtual. And last but not least, third best way to love is it starts with you. So there's that Smokey the Bear commercial. Only you can prevent forest fires, and only you can give yourself love and appreciation. And so it's got to start with you. So if you really want to love others, you got to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you can't feel the love from other people, because if your love tank is low and people are loving on you, where's the love? And people are loving you all the time, but you can't recognize it because your love tank is so low. But once you raise your love tank, it's like, oh, there's love over here, there's love over here. And all this whole love comes in because we're more open to receive. So the love and appreciation starts with ourselves, and and we got to start with ourselves, because I could tell you when I'm not loving to myself, and we all get there, I'm not, that's the thing. If anything, we got to embrace our humanness and our imperfections. But when we're not loving ourselves, generally, I know for me, when I'm not loving to myself, I don't want to be around people. I don't want even people to give me a hug. It's like the little kid, when I was a little kid, I'm angry, I want to be mad, and some adult gives me a hug, and it's like, oh, I don't even want this right now. But after a while, it's like, okay. And then you appreciate the hug because I was just hurt, right? But in general, it's like, that's the thing. We have to break out of the shell and increase our love and appreciation. So in recap, number one is the platinum rule of loving people the way they want to be loved. Number two is
positive and the negative.
Yeah, love is a full spectrum. It's a rainbow of emotions. Love is the rainbow of the emotions. So here's this was by Annie Lala, she's called, I learned this from her, the cartographer of love. And she said, yeah, it's like, even though I don't like, let's say, orange of the rainbow, I wouldn't want orange to be taken out of the rainbow, right? So you get all the colors of the rainbow, and I wouldn't want any one of them to be taken out, because otherwise it wouldn't be a rainbow. So that's the thing about love. You don't want to take anything out of love, otherwise it wouldn't be really full, true love. And last but not least, is only you. It starts with you. Only you can give love and appreciation. So that's a living, breathing example of how this is what you all each. This is a skill that I developed, and we all have this gift. You have this gift. If you could say, the answer is here, give it to me now, and just wait, it's going to come. If your mind says, no, it's not, just, okay, it doesn't matter. Don't pay attention to your mind. Keep trusting, and eventually you're going to be able to pull this off. And it's so fun, because then you don't have to study or memorize or anything like that. You can just pull answers from thin air, from above, from the heavens. And, and generally those answers are better than ones that are pre-prepared.
You're so awesome. I love that. I love that, how you're so in tune. And then also, you're just so full of these juicy nuggets, and you're good. You memorize really well, because you have all of these phrases and things that you have to apply to everything. I love it.
And it's a skill. It's a skill. So it's a skill. So I got mentored by someone who teaches distinction-based learning. So learn how to teach in sound bites. And just ask yourself, how do I word? So sound bites, as if you're going on TV. What's the catchy phrase or tagline? And just shorten it. So it's a skill. It's a skill. I know I have some talents in it, but I developed this skill, and but you can develop the skills. So skills are learnable. And I forgot the other thing you shared, but it was beyond the sound bites. What was the thing? I don't remember. It'll pop back.
About channeling, or
it was something like that. But yeah, I just, well, ultimately what I want to say is you can do this too. And oh, here's the thing. The memorization, that's what it was. You can program yourself to be great with memory. So I would just say, I used to have poor eyesight and blurring. I programmed my mind to see better, but I used to say I have photographic memory, and we all have photographic memory. I mean, if we just close our eyes and remember an image from the past, that's a photographic memory. So you could say, so that's a program I programmed. So as moms, you could say you have photographic memory. And I know women in general, they have really great memories. And usually the men will agree. It's like, she will never forget about that. No, I'm just kidding about that. But the memory, we have memories. And also the other program you want to put in is I'm great with names. I'm great with names. And you could just learn it, because it's like, if you keep saying I'm horrible with names, you're just going to make that reality true. So you might as well say I'm great with names. I'm great with names. And it's like, it's something as often as you can in this conversation, use their name. Just saying, oh, Chelsea, it's really good to meet you. Nice to meet you. And then we talked up, okay, Chelsea, I will see you again. Really an honor. And talk to you soon. Bye, Chelsea. And keep saying it. Repetition's the mother of memory, and you're going to get really good. So if you can learn, you have photographic memory, and you're great with names, because when people's names are remembered, it really touches them at a deep level, because people want to be remembered, or because it feels like it's a sense of care, that you care enough to remember their name, especially after years. And I think that's a key. It's a key skill, and you all can do this. And ultimately, you are the future. Moms are the future, and your kids are the future. And we're all here in it together to make the planet and humanity better. And any way I could serve and support, just stay connected, and we can take it from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Moms are like the backbone of the society, and once you can pour into moms, and moms can pour into their kids, it's just a ripple effect. So I know that they're going to want to connect with you and have questions for you. How do we get connected with you?
Yeah, you could just go to our website, movementmakers.org, movementmakers with an S.org. And over there, you'll get a pop-up where you can subscribe to our weekly 5 to Thrive emails. And so every week we send five things to thrive. So this is the Survive and Thrive Summit. So I believe that we're not here just to survive. And surviving is actually, here's the thing, surviving is not, being in survival is not that bad. The worst is just existing. So but surviving, at least you're moving towards, you're doing it. You're not just there, you're inactive. And but yeah, it's to thrive. And so we give 5 tips every week, and then from there we kind of share about other events and things we have. But yeah, I think it's very helpful, and it's really a message to give hope and inspiration out to so many. And moms are the backbone, and you're the decision makers in your family. And also, don't ever forget that you have a voice with your spending dollars, because 80 to 90% of household decisions are made by women, that you can choose which companies you support, and choose companies that do good. Choose companies that do good for you, your kids, the planet, and then that's going to make it a better place for all. So you have a lot of power in your dollar.
Yeah, that's great advice too. Man, you're just full of good points.
You picked a great expert to feature.
Absolutely. You're like the perfect person. And I just really value the way that you phrase things, and also the fact that you're so direct, but then you're so gentle at the same time. It's not abrupt, but it's honest. And and real. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be a speaker on my summit.
Thank you, Chelsea. It was an honor and pleasure.
All right. Well, thank you for giving the moms some awesome advice, and we will see you on the flip side.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.